Hello, everyone. Happy Sunday. It's a great day to craft. Here in Nova Scotia, we had a beautiful day yesterday, and today it's rainy, so it's a great day to craft. Um, yeah, so thank you very much for joining today. I really hope that you enjoy today's tutorial. Today, we are going to make the base of the junk journal that I shared last week. So I have a link in the description, but this is the journal I shared last week. This is created using envelopes. These were envelopes that I had just saved from whatever from Christmas and from birthdays and other things in which I was lucky enough to receive an envelope from someone. And so I had created this album, and I thought that I would show you guys how I created it. I'm going to do an improvement on the spine. But other than that, I think basically everything will be the same. So this way, you can create almost exactly what I created last for this journal. So in the description and right here, I list all of the envelopes that I used on the journal I just showed you. Now, in order to create the same size, I had to use some of the envelopes that I hadn't used for cards yet. Like these are, I think all of these might be new envelopes. But if you have envelopes that are already closed, for example, that you kept the envelope and it's like it was junk mail or received as a gift or whatever, and then, like, let's say you cut it along one side, that's fine. We can still use that for this journal. That just means that when you're assembling this journal, instead of using flaps like what I will use throughout this tutorial in order to join envelopes together, that just means that you might want to take, for example, a piece of copier paper, cut it to size, like the entire, for example, the length here, cut a piece of copier paper to the same length, make it about 2 inches long, score it in the middle, and use that as a hinge. But if you have envelopes with the flaps open like this, then that's exactly the way that we'll be using this tutorial or building this this album. So I'll just go through the envelope sizes right now. And another thing to point out is that even though I'm using like craft cardstock, I've got some white, I've got a gold envelope here too. You don't have to have the same colors throughout. On this junk journal, I used several different color envelopes, but you can't tell because number one, the papers that I chose matched the envelopes that I had, and also I put distress ink around all the edges, and my papers are really close to the edges, so you really can't see the colors of the envelopes that I used. So you're going to need 2 9x6 envelopes. These are going to be like the cover of your junk journal. After that, it's 2 of the 7 1/8 by 5 1/8. You'll need 3 5 3/4 by 5 3/4 envelopes. You'll need 2 of the 5 3/4 by 4 1/2 envelopes. And then you'll need 1 of the 6 1/4 by 4 1/2. Now, to save some time, what I did was and this is what I wanted to do, I put distress ink in Vintage Photo along the outside of my envelope, and then also along this fold here. And I did that for all of these. You don't have to do that. Like, for example, I might make one with just like all white envelopes later, or and I just want to keep it, bright and cheery. So I might not want to use Distress ink here. Or I might come across a pack of like darker envelopes, like let's say navy blue, which I do have. I might not want to distress those. I might want to just keep it the navy blue. Okay, so after you pick out your envelopes and after you distress them, if that's what you choose to do, I would suggest doing a trial run with this, like not adhering it right away, just going ahead and putting these together and making sure that all of your cards, all of your envelopes, do work with this journal. For example, I'm the type of person that I might mismeasure some of my envelopes, and I don't want to get to a point where I start to assemble something and my envelope is too big to fold inside the journal. So I'm just going to take some washi tape, take some inexpensive stuff here. Got this cheap silver stuff. And I'm just going to start with the base of my envelope, or the base of my album. So the base is going to be the 9.6, or the 9 by the 6, not 9.6, but 9 by 6. So I'm just loosely putting these together right now. When I do create the spine, I am going to offset this just a little bit, but I'll explain that when I get to that point. So here's the outside of my journal. And then next, I'm going to start on the left side of my journal. So the journal is going to need the 5 3/4, and that's going to be put on the top here. And then another 5 3/4, and that will be put on the bottom. So then after that, I have the 7 1/8 by 5 1/8, and I'm adhering this here. And then on the 7 1/8 by the 5 1/8, I'm going to go to the 5 3/4 by 4 1/2. And this will be here. So I might not even need the washi tape to check this. Like I know that that's going to flip. And this is going to flip out. And then I have these two that are going to go up like this. So that side's fine. So I actually measured those envelopes right. So over here, we have a 5 3/4 by 5 3/4. This is going to go here. And then we also have a 7 1/8 by 5 1/8. This is also going to go there. And then on this 7 1/8 by 5 1/8, I'm going to attach this 6 1/4 by 4 1/2. It'll go there like that. And then on the 6 1/4 by 4 1/2, I'm putting the last envelope that we have, which is the 5 3/4 by 4 1/2. Oops. Yep, so I didn't need my washi tape to check this. Everything does fit. So that's good. So now I know that my envelopes are correct, and I'm not going to have any issues with folding these. So I'm just going to put these aside. And I'm going to join these two envelopes for the background, or for the cover. Now, as I mentioned in last week's video, when I first did this, I had no idea where I was going with this one. And as you can tell, my spine ended up being too thin, because I didn't have one actually, for this journal. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create just a little bit of a spine for this journal. So that means I might score these two just so they're about, instead of using this fold line, I'm just going to go about 1/4 of an inch out just to give myself a little bit of a spine. So I'm going to grab my scoreboard here. So this envelope is 6 inches wide. So I'm just going to go down to 6 1/4 here. I'm just going to score. I'm going to fold that. Might need to score a little bit more. This is really thick paper. There we go. So I've got one scored. And then I'm going to do that for this next one. Oh, good morning, Christine. Okay, so when I'm adhering this together, I'm not using any of the tape. I'm not using tape to adhere this together. And that's because when I'm done with this, I'm going to cut. Now I'll open this up again. I'm going to cut ends off, like here. Like, for example, the top of this envelope. Well, that one's not a good example. Well, it doesn't matter. Like, for example, here, if I cut that off on the top, that means that if I use tape, then all along here, I've got tape on the inside. And when I go to pull this in and out, my paper in there might stick to the tape. So I want to use liquid adhesive. So this way, in the future, I'm not going to worry about any of my papers sticking to my album. So I think the easiest way to do this is to just apply glue along this spine here, this newly made spine, along this flap here, and then also along this flap. So I'm using the Nuvo glue. I really like this a lot, but if you have your favorite liquid adhesive, then go ahead and use that. And then put a little bit on this side. So I'm just going to slide this in and line up the two scored. So you can see the score line here. I'm going to line that up with the original fold in the envelope below. And it does not matter if you see this line here because we're covering this up with paper anyway. So I'm going to go to this side. I'm just going to score that again. Just kind of press it down. And press it down there again. Okay, so now it looks like it shifted a little bit. Okay, so there's my spine. So now I'm going to move on again to the left side. And so let's start building this up. And you're going to want to do your envelopes first, because if you want to do your envelopes first and not put the paper on yet. So again, I'm using liquid adhesive here to join it. Now, if you're using envelopes that have, that aren't open flapped like what I'm using, then you should be able to, I can't think of an instance where you won't, you should be able to use your tape runner. There's your one flap. I think the longest process for this journal, I was thinking about it this morning, like what time can I cut out so this way the lives aren't too long, and so that you can focus on your project when you decide to do this. Like, what is the longest part of this? And then I realized the longest part of this when I made it the first time was picking out what papers I wanted. Okay, so next we're going to go with the 7 and an 1/8 by 5 and an 1/8. So this one goes here, like that. Yep, that looks good. And then the next one is the 5 3/4 by 4 1/2. Look at that, so easy. We've got this side done already. So now let's move to this side. So in the middle, right here, we're putting the 5 3/4 by 5 3/4. And then next, we're going with the 5 1/8, or 7 1/8 by 5 1/8. So if you use your envelopes that, again, don't have the open flap, it will take, obviously some time, extra time to create all your little spines for each of these, but that's okay. And if you do create, if you do have to use the little strips to create the spines, if you're not using this flap method, then I don't know if I would use like the heavier cardstock, just because it might make it a little more tricky to bend. And also, like, we're putting paper on here to cover most of this up, and if you have one piece that's really thick, then you might have like little bumps showing up on your pattern paper, and yeah, you probably won't want to do that. Okay, so next is the 6 1/4 by 4 1/2. And last but not least is your 5 3/4 by 4.5. I've already mentioned this. I'm wondering if the envelopes are vintage or ink or tea stained. So what I did was I used vintage photo all along the edge of it, just to give it an aged look, but you don't have to do that. Okay, so fold. Look at that. So now we have the base of the journal done. Can you believe that? We're 20 minutes in, and we already have the base done. That's incredible. Very happy about that. Just gonna press down in all the places, on everything, just because I want to make sure that they're nice and firm in there. Oh, and when we were putting these together, notice I tried lining these two up. So this way, when they flapped over, they kind of covered each other. I should have mentioned that. Apologize for missing that. Okay, so we've got that done now. This is great. The next thing that we want to do is we want to add some cuts. Or, we could probably... do I think which would be better? I think when I did this, I might have put the paper on and then cut. I think I did. Yep, so let's go ahead and put some of the paper on then. Just like for the envelopes, I have a sheet showing all the background paper that you need. So when you do when you cut your paper, make sure that you're minding your orientation of your paper. Like, for example, like we need 4 of the 8 7/8 by 5 7/8. But the thing is, orientation definitely matters, because this is your 5 7/8 and this is your 8 7/8. So you don't want your pattern to go in the wrong orientation. So what I did was I took each of the envelope sizes and I dropped them down by 1/8. This is so that I have a really thin trim around each of my envelopes. You can go thicker if you want to. I just wanted to go a little bit thinner. Okay, so basically you're doubling the quantity of envelopes you have. So 8 7/8 by 5 7/8, you're going to need 4. 7 by 5, you're going to need 4. 5 5/8 by 5 5/8, you're going to need 6. 5 5/8 by 4 3/8, you'll need 4. And then 6 1/8 by 4 3/8, you will need 2. So I have my papers cut, but I did not figure out which ones are going where. So I want to make sure that my album on the front cover is very pretty and eye-catching. And I want to make sure that I have like my favorite papers up front. Now I'm using Tim Holtz paper on this, but again, you can use any paper that you want. I pulled paper from Menagerie. This is his paper pad. This is 8 by 8, and it has a whole bunch of, like, I guess his favorite papers from different collections. As you can see, I've been cutting away at this for a while now. So I pulled some papers from this. But if you have just a 12 by 12 pad of paper that you want to use, really, that's all you'll need for this. That just might mean that you're just going to have some scraps, for a lot of scraps, larger scraps for your smaller envelopes. So for this one, for the 12 by 12, if you used Wallflower, Tim Holtz Wallflower, then this one should be enough for this project, and well, several more. You're not using that many sheets of paper from a 12 by 12. So here are my pages. I did 6 1/8 by 4 1/8. Aren't those pretty? I wanted to stick more with the flower theme for this. So 5 5/8 by 4 3/8. I think this is my favorite paper from the collection. So gorgeous. The 5 5/8 by 5 5/8, you need 6 of those. I picked this one as my side. Like I could have picked the basket weave, but it says Canada right there, so I had to pick that. And then there's some pretty flowers in there. Seven by 5, we need 4 of those. This one is pretty on both sides. Love that. Then 8 7/8 by 5 7/8, so you need 4 of those. So I'm going to start with those because that's going to be the outside and the base of my journal. Oh, and you're also going to need a band. And this band is for your mini book that's going inside of your journal. And so this is 2.5 by 10. And what we'll do is when we get to it, we're going to score it and place it on the inside of our journal. We'll just need one of those. Okay, so here's the fun part, figuring out which one's going where. I wanted one of these two as my front. I like both of them. Like that's really pretty. Oh yeah, I think it's going to be this. Like that's just pretty. Pretty pretty. Yeah, I like that a lot. So that'll be the front. I might have this one as the back. And then on the inside, because I have the journal going here, it's going to be hidden quite a bit. So I think I might just put this paper in there and then put the flower one there. Yep, I think it will. So at this point, I am going to use my tape runner. So this way I'm not using up a lot of glue unnecessarily. And it's much easier to put this on with tape instead of, and quicker instead of glue. And yes, I use a lot of tape. I probably don't need to use that much, but I just really want this to stay. And I went crooked there, so I'm just going to use a little bit of glue on the edge. Okay, so this is the front. You want to double check that. My orientation is correct. I'm going to have to stand for this. So as you can see, like you can see the white around there from the envelopes below, but I'm not bothered by that. Like really, once I go over this again, which I will, I'm going to go over this with some distress ink. That will cover that up a little bit. And really the focus is on that cover. So I'm not going to put the back side on yet. And that's because I am going to use ribbon. I'm going to use some seam binding. And I'm going to put ribbon underneath here when I'm done. and I'm going to use that to tie this off. But I don't want to do this until almost the very end, because I want to make sure that I'm giving myself enough length of ribbon in order to close this. And plus two, I don't want to have to keep flopping over every time I open and close this, like see the ribbon flipping and being in the way. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this inside too. So after we put all of this paper in, we will start doing cuts. Now, mind you too, along the way here, there are going to be some of these papers that are not going to have tape on it. It's going to be glue, and it might only be on 3 sides. Because that's because we're making some pockets. Isn't that lovely? That's really pretty. Okay, so next I want to do these flips here, and so those are the 5 5/8 squared. So on these, on this original one, just have that there, and then have this one as opened. I'm putting a pocket here and a pocket here. So that means that when it comes to this, like this will probably be covered by something. So I'm more than fine with this ad paper going here. And then with that one, yeah, I might actually flip this. I might actually put the journaling stuff there, but I want the flower to be the focus. Yep. So with these two, we're going to tape them into place. Again, I have to stand up to do this. As you can see, either I cut this poorly, or I put the envelope in crooked, or the envelope is crooked. So I have a little bit of the envelope showing there, but that's okay. Like we can cover that up, or we can put distress ink on it, because just remember, this is a junk journal. If you are creating this and you're not making it look so junky, I guess you could say, then what you could do is, when you go to do this part, instead of cutting the paper ahead of time, you can just measure each envelope just to make sure. See if I can do this without standing up. Okay, so because I want this to match those, I think I might put the pattern papers on here and then use these two over on this side, which I think would look nice over there. So I'm going to do that. And again, these could be taped on because we're not creating pockets along the edge up here. Like, we're not going to cut any of these edges off. And the reason why I did it this way is because I didn't want to create pockets along these edges because if someone goes to open this, I don't want anything to slide out along any of these sides. So that's why I create a pocket just right here. So this way, if it goes to slide, it's going to go in towards the inside of your journal and not out. Maybe I was just being a little bit too cautious there, but I was trying to be mindful of, people looking at this and doing flips and stuff like that. Okay. Doing this sitting down, I can't believe I'm actually doing it kind of straight. That's usually I have to stand up for that. Okay, so now you have these flips done. And so let's go to these. Now, with these, on this one here, we are going to have it so that the paper that goes on here is going to have a little half moon or whatever to put your finger in to pull this out. So, and it's the same here too. So these two pieces of paper on this side, we're going to have to punch. And then on this one here, we're also going to punch sideways. See how the front looks. No, on the front of this, we just went plain. So let's go ahead and pick out our papers here, and then we'll punch them and adhere them. So this is the larger size. Oh, that's pretty. And that looks good against the white. And let's see what matches that. Oh, I like that one. So, yeah, that looks good. That one looked good too. But I think I want to go with that. I really like that a lot. So I'm just going to use a punch here. This is just an oval one. This just happens to be at my desk. You could use a round one, like for example on the this one that I did. I just used a round scallop punch, but I think since this one's handy, I'm just going to go ahead and punch this here. And I don't know if I'm in the middle, but I'm kind of eyeballing it. Go on the edge there. And this is my distress ink. So with this, since this is going to be a pocket to slide things in and out of, I'm using my liquid adhesive. I'm trying to get as close to this edge as I can, but I am moving a little quick here. So it's not too straight. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing with this one. I'm just going to punch it, and then I'm going to adhere it on 3 sides. A little bit of distress ink on there. I really like this wallflower paper of his. I think that this one might be my favorite. I like it just because, well, the images, the floral images are gorgeous. But also the back side of each of these, he did a good job picking out which ones he wanted on the back. Isn't that pretty? Like, look at how quick this is, quickly this is being put together. So now we have this, and on this one, oops. So this one, there's not going to be any punches on it, but on this flap, we're going to have a side punch. So, and I want to have it so that when this is open, whatever is here matches well. That's too small, so I only have a couple choices here. Oh, that's not even the right size. I was right with this one. And that one doesn't look, that one looks good. I do like that. And when it's like this, that still looks good too. Okay. But I gotta be mindful of this side too, because I have a bird, or I have this here that I might want to put that there. I feel like this is going to get more attention than, no, this side's going to get more attention. Okay. So this guy's just going to be put on. I didn't cut that very well, did I? But it's still good. Let's see. So this will definitely be at least a two-part series. I think it'll just be a two-part series. I think we can get most of this done into 1 hour lives. And then, yeah, then we'll move on to the next project. But like I said, this one's pretty quick. So if you like this video, make sure you hit the little like button. And if you want to see more, more tutorials like this, feel free to hit that subscribe button, and we can craft together frequently. I'm just going to put a little bit of distress ink there just because it was kind of white. So on this one, I'm doing the liquid along 3 sides. A little bit over there, but that's okay. Yep, that's good. Okay, we're halfway done. Actually, we're more than halfway done with this. Now we're going to do the side. So, I like that bird too. Isn't that bird cute? Okay, so we have some choices here. And where's the 5 1/4? Yep. Which I think that could be fine there, having that blue there. On the other side. Yep. Okay. I think oh, look at that. That would look pretty there. I think I like that side better. Okay, then we have paper for here. Yeah, if I do it like that, look at that. That is stunning. Let's see how this side looks to make sure we're not covering any of that prettiness up, which we're not. Perfect. Okay, so that's going to be there like that. Yeah, let me go ahead and adhere these down. So regarding this side, let's see which ones we are. Yep, so sorry, I just need to look at this. There's a lot of flips here. So on this side, what I mainly did was I adhered the paper on this side and then afterwards cut my envelopes across the top and then punched. So we can do that for this too. So that means that, yep, we could use the tape on this. See, even the back side of this is pretty. Isn't it lovely? And so since I know I'm cutting these along the top, I'm going to move my paper a little bit closer to the bottom here. Because I'll probably trim off like not an eighth, but maybe like a 16th of paper across the top. And oh, you know what? I should have used liquid adhesive here just because this is open. So I'm going to have a strip there that might stick. So I was not paying attention. My apologies for that. So I'm just going to put a little bit of liquid adhesive there just to be double safe. And then I'll do the same here. Oops. I plan on using the other side so I don't have this one distressed. Or inked, I mean. I'm just going to go across this quickly. Okay. So I'm going to use tape along two edges. And since there's an open side of the envelope there, I'm just going to go along just the one side with liquid adhesive. Just got a little bit of stuff there. It's okay though. Okay, and what is this one supposed to do? This one is coming out the side. So I think we're safe on that one being adhered on. But again, I'm still going to use liquid adhesive along this edge. And then on the other edges, the tape. Love these pages together. That's just gorgeous. Okay, so now we just have this back here to do. Did not work out well. That looks really nice. Yeah, That's a funny way to say that, Christine. So Christine just said, I love the way you audition the papers before you do that. That's right. This is an audition. These papers, they have to get approved before they get on the cast. Okay, so how was that one done? I missed that. Oh, it's punched across the top. Okay, so we're good there. So none of these have an open area for a pocket. So I'm just going to go ahead and use tape to put that on. How are we doing time? 10:50. Okay, so this isn't bad. Like we have a lot finished here, and we're moving at a good pace. So after I tear these, we're just going to do the cuts and the last punches, and then we'll finish for today. And I'll either, well, no, I don't think I can do any posts this week. I'm really busy at work, and I don't think, oh, that looks pretty. Oh, no, I like that. So I might be working over this week, so I can't, I don't think I'll do a live during the week to work on this more. If I do have time, I don't think I'll work on this project. So this way, if you join live every Sunday, you don't have, not that you can't rewatch a video after it's been done, but just in case you have any questions. Okay, so look at that. Isn't that crazy how quickly we're able to get all of this done? It's amazing. Okay, so now we're going to do some of the punches on this side. We have a few minutes, so let's go ahead and let's do these punches. So just go back to this here. See what I mean about the ribbon? Yep, so I'm going to trim the top off of this, and actually I'm going to mark this so that I remember which side I'm trimming. So I'm trimming this side, and then I'm punching. I'm trimming this side, and then punching. So I'll mark that there. And then for this flap, I'm trimming the top and punching. Oh, I forgot to put that on. Good thing I looked at that. And yes, on this one, yeah, I'm trimming it on this side, or punching on this side, I mean. What is happening with this guy? Is that nothing happening with that? Okay, so this one here is not getting punched. So this is the way I did it. You might not like doing it this way, but the reason why I did it this way is because number one, I didn't, when I was making this project, it was kind of fluid what I was doing, and just kind of making stuff up as I was going. And then, oh, I'm still going to need that. And it also, I forgot to put that on. We'll do that next. And also I wanted to have, you know, this nice and strong when I did it. So I didn't, in other words, I didn't want to cut my envelopes before I adhered them together, because it would have made it a little bit sloppy, I guess, a little tricky to work with. So I'm barely trimming off the top of this. This is at 5 3/4 by 5 3/4. Okay. As you can see, well, I don't know if you can see that. I barely have anything there. Oh, I didn't glue that side down or tape that side down. So let's do that now. I thought I did. Oh, this will be a little messy. I must have gone along the edge. Sorry if my head was in the way. Okay, I'm just going to let that set for a second and then move on to the next one. And then I'll go back and punch all these. So I'm going to do the same with this. I'm just going to trim across the top. Oops. So you might want to use longer scissors. It's totally your choice. I like using the smaller ones because the envelope is a little bit, a little small, although I should make that a little straighter there. Okay. And then on this one, I am trimming this side. So with this, since I'm not going into a fold, I am going to use the larger scissors for this. Or you could use your paper cutter. Okay. So I have this envelope here. Oops. Let me put a little bit of liquid glue in that corner. So on this one, I punched it through and through. So, and again, you don't have to punch it through and through, but with this punch, it is bigger. And so it is a little bit easier to punch it through and through. I'm just going to do a small sliver here. This is just enough so that I can put my stuff in there and pull it out easily. So next is this top one. Just going to, again, punch out a little sliver here. Hope I'm even. I can go deeper with that later, but I won't. Yeah, I'm going to do it now. It's going to bother me. Okay. There we go. Oh, that looks nice. And then the last one is this one. And I'm going along the edge. Is this one the top or the side? Oh, this one's the top. Yep, that's right. This one's big enough, though. I might be able to squeeze that in. Let's see if I can. Yep, I can. So I'm just going to pop that in. Punch. Now I can see the white from my envelope in there, so I'm just going to go in and distress that. I mean, we're going to have a card in there anyway, but that's okay. And let's go ahead and put this in before I forget. So we can use this side or this side. So the belly band, or the band I have going over it, is this. Ugh, that looks awful. Okay. I think I actually like this side better. So I'm going to go with this side, and I'm going to use tape. And the last thing that we're going to do today is we're going to put a band in right here, and this is going to be for our journal. So I have a little pull-out journal here, and so the thing is with this band, you don't want it over too far this way because then your journal is going to flop around in here, but you don't want your band too close to the edge, because then that means that your journal is going to run into your flaps on this side, and you might not be able to get it in or out very well. So if you have it towards the center, then that means that you should be able to get your journal in and out rather easily. So I've got my band, and I will go over that with Distress ink. And yeah, so we're going to score this. Yeah, if you remember at the beginning when I showed the paper, this is 10 by 2.5. So I'm going to score this at 1/2 on either side. And so it's going to sit just like that. So I'm going to use liquid adhesive, so this way, if I'm off a little bit when I put the first flap down, I can move this just slightly. So I'm going to go towards the center here. Again, I apologize if my head's in the way. So I got that there, got that there. And we have it so it lifts up just a little bit, and that's going to be enough for your journal to slide into. So look at this. Oh my gosh, I can't believe we got all this done. This is incredible. So let's do a recap. This is our front. We got our flap here. It goes out. We have these inner flaps. Then we have the right side, which we flap out an extra time here. We have some pockets along there. We have another flap here. And we have a belly band for our journal. So next week, what we're going to do is we're going to hopefully finish working on this. So we're going to do all the other pockets. We're going to do some little journaling areas. We're going to make our journal that slides into here. We're going to have some places for tickets and other goodies. So you can see here what this is going to look like. It's going to be very close to this. We have another booklet there to make, another pocket. We have some pockets here. We're going to do our pullouts. And finish the outside cover and put a ribbon on. So that's a lot for next week, but I think that we might be able to get it done. So between now and then, I'm going to go over this again along all the edges with some distress ink just to kind of finalize this and to kind of hide those papers just a little bit. You can tell that I did not cut some of these very well, but I really don't think it looks bad though. And I'm also going to have, ahead of time, I'm going to use my tab punch, and I'm going to cut a whole bunch of tabs from scrap paper for these areas here, for these guys. And I'll pre-punch these and pick out the doilies that I want. So that's it. Thank you so much for stopping by. I really appreciate it. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe if you're not a subscriber yet. And feel free anytime to send a message to me or leave a question on the comments. And I'll be sure to get back to you as soon as possible. So thank you again for stopping by. I hope you had a good time and have a happy crafty day. Bye.